Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Unfortunately, it's not Thursday. We normally deliver our two messages and broadcast them on Mondays and Thursdays. So hello, TCI family and guests and friends. Beautiful location here in Washington on the Puget Sound. As you can actually see in the distance, if you look right about there on the screen, you're going to see three heads kind of bobbing in the water. Those are divers. It's a beautiful place to live. It's a beautiful place to explore. If you guys ever want to come out and do some diving, let us know at TCI. We have actually certified divers who would love to take you out and teach you how to dive and enjoy the beautiful Puget Sound. Today is a very tough topic, so you're going to have an interesting meeting today. I know some of you who are followers of TCI that aren't church members, but you follow us. This might be a little tough subject for you, so bear with it. Don't be afraid. When I tell you that, I need you to hear my heart on this, okay? When I was raised, and keep in mind, I'm a fourth generational preacher. It's in my DNA, okay? My family has, from dads and grandparents, have all been ministers. And so I come from a family of people who believe in the Bible and were raised on this book, and that includes me. I was raised a Christian. I became a Christian Buddhist. And by the way, I got a couple questions last week saying, what is a Christian Buddhist? Buddhism is not a religion. We don't ever worship the Buddha. That's not what you do. Buddhism is a philosophy. It's just a philosophy. No more than my good friend Tony Robbins. If you listen to Tony, he teaches you philosophies that are his that help you become successful. That's why he's so successful at coaching people, because of his philosophies. The Buddhists are the same things. So I then became what they call an inclusionist. And that's when my eyes got opened. When I started to see that I asked certain questions in seminary, I was told you're not supposed to ask those questions. And I'm like, well, that don't make sense. I was taught you always ask questions. Keep asking questions. The more questions you ask, the more data you get, the more information you get, then guess what? You can make an educated decision on what the situation is, whatever it might be. And so when we're talking about eternal salvation or eternal damnation, I got a few questions. Question number one, is there a devil? It's a good question. Question number two, is there a hell that was created by a God who loves me, his child, and he's going to put me there for eternity and torture me throughout all eternity without ever being forgiven? Now, I'm made in God's image, and you are made in God's image, and I'm a father, and I can tell you, I've got one son who did something that was just, in my opinion, unforgivable, horrific, horrifying, disgusting, makes you puke, but he's my son, and I love him, and I always will, and I will never not love him. And when that day comes, and he comes to the door and knocks on that door, and my eldest says, hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to be there with open arms, and I'm going to go ahead and love on him. Because that's what a father does. And God is a father, okay? And so he also, like me and you, fathers and mothers, would we punish our children? Absolutely. I have punished my children many times, grounded them, and a lot of other things, took away things. Back when I was a kid, we were raised spanking children. Those were things that were all normal stuff, okay? So I love my child. But would I punish him for eternity? These were the questions that I was asking my spiritual leadership, and they all said the same story. Well, we don't really need to get into that stuff. Yes, there's a hell. Okay, but I don't get that part. Could you explain that? Look, you don't have to explain everything. You just need to trust in God. And I'm like, well, listen, I trust in God, but you're man and you're not God. And then that's when I started to realize that there was almost like this covering of our eyes, and there's certain parts that we're just supposed to say okay to. And that didn't fly. So I kept searching. So today is that journey, and we're going to talk about it. So we're going to get into this, and it's going to be a little hard for you, but that's okay. Bear with it, hunker down, let's ask some questions, and let's discuss it. But the first thing we're going to talk about is there a devil? So let's read in the scripture what it says in the Bible. And again, I teach out of the Bible. I teach from a lot of spiritual texts. But let's just look at the Bible here. In the book of Mark, in the 8th chapter, and in the 31st verse, it says, when Jesus was predicting, he's talking about his death, and he was talking to his 12 disciples. Now remember, Peter, that's according to the Bible, is the man that he was going to build the church on, right? So he would be the rock, he said, you are the rock of which my church will be built. And that's where the Catholic Church says Peter was the first pope. And then after Peter died in Rome, then the second pope, third, fourth, and down on the line until our current modern day pope. All right, so now you understand that, right? This is where we're at. And Jesus began to teach his disciples that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. I am going to pause there for a second. So some of my pastors that I oversee asked this question to me. They actually said, and I apologize about the camera shaking, it's because it's very windy out here. But they ask me all the time, they're like, as an inclusionist, I feel like I always got a priest coming up to me telling me how I'm an idiot. And I always have someone telling me, you're going to burn in hell. And I said, well, don't worry. You're in good company. Because Jesus, the Christ, was also in that company. He was rejected by the elders. He was rejected by the chief priests and scribes. So you're not in bad company. Let's continue on. Then it says in verse 32, he spoke this word openly. Then Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. And in verse 33, Jesus says, but when he had turned around and looked at the remaining 12, the other disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, get behind me, Satan. Now it's got an exclamation point. Why? Well, whenever you see an exclamation point, it means they're yelling it, right? So he literally said, get behind me, Satan. Now, wait a second. Hold on a second. I'm confused. Peter, he's the first pope. He's the rock on which the church is built. And the devil was in Peter, one of the 12 disciples who walked with the Christ? Okay, get ready for it. Is there a devil? Yes, there is. Look in your computer screen or your TV right now and go get a mirror. You're going to need a mirror for it too. Got the mirror? Okay. Take the mirror and look in it. Because I got a mirror on my computer that I see me. So is there a devil? Absolutely. And when you look in your mirror, you're looking at him. You're looking at her. You, me, him, her, we are all the devil. Peter was the devil. Peter, the foundation of the church, the rock, is the devil. How is that possible? Well, he was possessed by the devil. We're all possessed by the devil. See, let me tell you something. You are a child of God, a being created by the deity. So you are, by all means, a little God. Now that one's going to throw you all off. I know. I get hate mail when I get that one. Oh, you're calling us gods. I said a little g, okay? That means like, I'm brown. My last name's Brown. My dad was Brown. So when you said Mr. Brown, there's two of us. Who are you talking to? Who are you talking about? Well, the big Mr. Brown. Oh, the senior guy. Okay. I'm still Brown. It doesn't mean anything different. It just means that my dad, the senior Brown, is the guy that people usually want to talk to, not the little Brown. So there's God, the big G, the creator of all. And we all call him different names. Some of you call him Jesus. Some of you call him God. Some of you call him Jehovah. Some of you call him Allah. Everyone calls him by a different name. Or her. Because he is not a he or she. God is just this beautiful deity. So God is in you and the devil is in you. So if you're asking, is there a horned beast running around somewhere in hell who can masquerade in the public and control you? Yeah, no, not happening. Doesn't exist. That's why you don't see any of the things back 100 years ago. Not even 100, but let's just go back 100 years. 100 years ago, parents used to scare their children. Go read your history books. Parents used to scare their kids by saying, don't go out tonight, the devil is out at night. So, don't go out on a Friday night because the devil's out there. Well, then they got taught that. So what do you think they taught their kids? Don't go outside at night, the devil's out there. 5, 6, 7 generations later, we believe that the devil's running around. Why? Because that's what we were taught. There's no devil running around. The devil didn't make you do anything. The devil didn't make Jim Jones kill all those people. He didn't make, the mass murderer in Vegas guy go kill everyone at that event. The devil didn't create the coronavirus. The devil didn't do any of that. You are the devil. I am the devil. You are God. I am God. God is in you. God is in me. The devil is in you. The devil is in me. And our beautiful brothers and sisters who come from places like Japan and China and who practice Taoism and the different faiths from over there have the best way to explain it. The yin and the yang. You've seen the symbol, right? It's right here. That's the yin and the yang. The good and the evil. The bad, the good. Now the Christians, we call it sowing and reaping. We sow good, we get good back. We sow bad, we get bad back. If I take a seed of nightshade and a seed of corn and I plant both, they will both give back to me what there are. Meaning that corn will grow into a corn. And that nightshade will grow into nightshade. And if you know anything about nightshade, it's a killer plant. It's going to destroy everything. So if I plant bad, evil, nightshade in my life, if I feed the darkness in me, the devil in me, then guess who will rule? The devil. Whatever you feed will proceed. Hear my words on that. If you feed good, if you feed light, then that's what's going to proceed out of you. God, goodness, love. I have great friends, and they're the sweetest people. People always go, oh, they're so sweet. But that's because all they do is feed the goodness in them. They feed the good that's in them, and that's what comes out of them. So they're sowing good into themselves by being around people who speak into their ears positive words. I got a guy, and all he does is complain about his job. He just complains and tells me how horrible it is. That's all he does. And I said, you know something, man? This was a few years back. I got the same job. It's the same for me. He goes, then why don't you complain? I said, why? By complaining, all I'm doing is meditating on that bad seed. And I refuse to do that. Because I ask many, many men and women who are mega millionaires, most successful preachers you're ever going to meet, most successful business politicians, and I've asked them all, what's the secret? Well, here's one of the key that they all agree with. Good in, good out. Bad in, bad out. Oh, wait a second. You mean if you reap good, that means you sowed good and good was sown there? But if it's bad, who's to blame? That's us. We have to take responsibility for the devil and for God, because God is in us and waiting for us to just feed God, feed the good. The devil's in us, and at that moment, Peter allowed the devil to jump up and run his life. He fed the devil. He took Jesus aside and scolded him. The Christ was trying to tell him something, and he didn't want to hear it. So he chose instead to allow himself to sow negative seed, and in doing so, the Christ, God, acknowledged the devil in man. And there's many, many scriptures that I can walk you through. But that one suffices. It's enough. It's all you need. It's proof. There is no horned devil running around, okay? It's all man who has created that image to control our children and our families. And then, of course, we have, again, you're talking to a Pentecostal preacher, right? I was raised Pentecostal, which means they're like the strictest ones out there. And I understand. But there's a hell. You don't understand. It says so in the Bible. Really? Where does it say there's a hell? Show me one scripture where it says there is a hell. Where's the word hell in the Bible? And you say, well, I can look right here. No, this ain't the Bible, folks. This is the New King James Version. See, they have to put version at the end. The American Standard Version. The NIV, which is the New International Version. That's just a version of the Bible. You want to find out what was really said? Go back to Hebrew and Greek. Go back to the original language that it was written in. There's no word called hell anywhere. Let's actually see what it says about the town called Gehenna. Have you ever heard of Gehenna? Well, let me educate you on Gehenna. So, Gehenna, that's Gehenna. In Hebrew scripture, after Babylon exile, which was the 6th century, so that's right where the Old Testament ends and the New Testament begins, a garbage dump in a deep, narrow valley outside the wall of Jerusalem where fires were kept burning to consume the garbage. It is also the location where bodies of executed criminals or individuals who were denied a proper burial and animals were dumped. Sulfur, brimstone, was added to keep the fires burning. Man, once I actually started studying, truly opening the eyes, I'm sitting there going, holy smokes. And literally, the Greek in Hebrew scriptures, the word is not used except to describe the actual place outside of Jerusalem. There's no hell. We have fictionally made this up. When they converted all of this into English, and we have the great King of England, James, the King James Bible, the version, the first English version for us to read, well, they need powerful words in there. And parents at the time scared their children with that thought of hell. What a great thing. You're only going to live for about, at that time, 30, 40 years. All I got to do is tell you, hey, man, guess what? You're going to burn in hell if you do that. I don't want to do that for eternity. Oh, my God. Life's already tough enough for me in the dark ages. So, the word doesn't even exist. And when it does exist, Gehenna, not hell, Gehenna, it is a location. So when you look at the word hell and you translate the original word as Gehenna, they're talking about the garbage dump that had sulfur put there to add, fires always burning, smoke, gnashing of teeth, wailing of all that. And guess what? There's hell. Okay. Now that we've eliminated the horned devil and this burning eternity of hell, you can finally rest. Relax. You don't have a bunch of tasks to do. Jesus said his own words, I came, not me, this is Jesus, that all would be saved. I spent the first half of my youth trying to save every person that I met. I'd ask them, are you saved? And they'd be like, what are you talking about? Like, are you saved? Are you going to heaven? I don't know. Well, follow me and listen to these words. Sorry about that. We got people wandering around in the field over there that are accidentally getting in on things. So, here's the thing. I was trying to save everybody from this horrible place called hell that doesn't even exist. You know, if all of us were to stop focusing on doing what God already did. See, I don't need to be God. God is God. He already did it. Everyone's saved. I know that's tough to believe. I know it is. But here's the thing. There are certain parts that we don't know. Does a man like Charlie Manson, who murders whatever, and technically I guess Charlie didn't murder anyone, but he told people to murder him. So pick a person, Ted Bundy. He ate people, right? Chopped people up, did all kinds of things. You got that other guy, Gacy or whatever, they were mass murderers. Pick anybody you want. Does that person go to eternal hell? There is no eternal hell. What happens to them? Well, that's a good question. That is a question. And religion? Well, we just throw him in hell. And if he murdered my daughter, guess what? I probably would want to use that term. Yeah, he's rotten in hell. But I've been to the afterlife not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I've seen people there with other people. Like as an example, a couple of my dear mentors who have gone on to the other side. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, America's pastor. Called to the White House all the time. Dr. Robert Schuller, another one of America pastors, who also was called to the White House on many times. So here are 2 great men. My Bishop Earl Polk was there. Now here's the interesting thing. Standing right next to my youth, in my very juvenile youth time, one of my mentors, which was, I just mentioned, Dr. Peale, was standing my good friend from my childhood, who was gay. And when someone caught them at a party, him and his partner, he was a senior in high school, he knew that it was about to be over because his mom and him and the family were raised Catholic. So he's going to get kicked out, which means he goes to hell and purgatory for eternity. That's what he was told. And he knew the humiliation of what it would be like, so he figured it'd be better just to go into the house, put a 12 gauge in his mouth and blow the head off. I think I was 15 on that one. It was 15 or 16, right around there. It was tough. He was there. Gay and suicide. Still there. Now, I know a lot of you say, well, then we shouldn't tell people that because then they'll just commit suicide. I'm not telling you to commit suicide because if you do, you're an idiot. Sorry, I'm going to be blunt. I know someone's like, you shouldn't call people an idiot. They might have a mental disorder. We all have mental disorders. Okay? Every human on earth has a mental disorder. Every human on earth has a mental health issue. Suicide is not the way out. Okay? I wish Glenn wouldn't have killed himself. I wish he would have lived, because he could have had a beautiful life. And he'll never get that chance because he moved on. Okay? Now, I don't know if God had to put him down in a room for a while and say, son, I need you to think about what you've done. Because I don't live on the other side. I've only been there a few times when I've died on the operating table. But here's the point I'm trying to make. You're going to be rudely awakening if you think when you get there there's going to be 21 virgins waiting for you, or 120 virgins for my dear Muslim brothers. There's no 21 virgins or 200 virgins or whatever waiting for you to have sex with for the rest of your life. If you're the Ku Klux Klan when you get there, Jesus and God, they're going to walk out with wrapped clothes, pants backwards, hat backwards. They're going to be like, yo, what's up, brother? And they're going to be black. And if you're a black person and you're racist against any other race, he's going to come in that race too. You know, it's comical what we all think about God. All God is this beautiful being who said, let there be light, and bang, the Big Bang Theory happened. There you go. Science, spirituality, meet. God said, let there be light. There was light. Kaboom! Big light. Exploded all over the universe. And everything is now here unfolding throughout time. Okay? So let's stop focusing on about hell and heaven and the devil. Alright? You are the devil if you want to be the devil. The devil is in all of us. Go drive down the street. The most sweet, saintly woman I know. I have seen her get angry. I've seen her yell. I've seen her flip someone off. Yeah. The sweetest people on earth. The devil in them also comes out. We all have that bad side and good side. Okay, guys? So, maybe we can take a little bit of the scariness out of this whole devil thing. And now what you have is you have us needing to continue to educate people and help them to truly be freed from oppression. Because that's what I sat under for years. It was oppression. People trying to control me through fear. Fear-mongering. It's great. The Republicans do it, and the Democrats do it. And those two parties do it amazing. White people do it, and black people do it. It's not a race thing. It's not a Christian thing or a Muslim thing, because they all have that place where everyone's burning forever. It's a good story, and it's a good way to scare little kids. And if you're raised that way, unfortunately, you probably believe it your whole life. Just like, why do people do certain things? How do you eat your food? The way your mom and dad taught you. You were trained that way. Maybe you used the fork the wrong way. Have you ever gone to see the queen or king? They tell you how to use what fork and how to use it the proper way. And you're like, what are you talking about? I don't get that. I just eat. No, there's a proper way and there's a non-proper way if you go to certain events. But see, we just want to keep people in fear. There's no reason to fear. Because there's no devil out there, except the one in me and you. And because there's no hell that I'm going to have to burn in eternity for, what stops me from going out there and killing everybody? It's a good question. Do you know there's actually millions? The last time I checked, close to over 1 billion people who don't believe in anything, meaning they don't believe in a God or anything after life. And those people, no more higher percentage of those people that became murderers and rapists and killers and all that stuff than in the people who are faith-based. You can do your research yourself. You'll find this out. Just because you don't believe in a hell and it's holding a devil over you that you're going to be tortured forever, doesn't mean you're going to take out tomorrow and turn into be some psychotic killer and throw it all away and, have sex with 50,000 people and just throw everything into, it doesn't matter anyways, might as well just blow my head off. No, sorry, that is not it. As I look out behind me, because I'm looking at the screen, but it's shooting behind me, and as I do, I see a beautiful sound here. I see a beautiful place that actually shows you that sometimes it's nice and quiet and calm, like the last time I broadcast from here. Or it's not nice and calm like right now, where it's a pain in the, let's just say it, it's a pain in the butt. Okay? It's bad out there. It's choppy. The boats are pushing hard. You're going to have to use your engine stronger and more. Why? Because it's rough. Life's like that. Sometimes it's just plain and simply rough. And it's not the devil beating you up. Think about it. It's just life. This life was put in motion by the deity for you, for me, for him, for her, for all of these people here. All of us. This was put in motion for. But the motion is a free will. Meaning you and I have the free will to murder, kill, rob, kill and destroy everything around us. And we have that free will. And you can do that right now if that's what you so choose. It always ends badly. Just ask Stalin and Hitler and, all the guys and gals who have tried to do all the evil things in this world. But if you focus on the good, which is what most of us try to focus on, we just try to show the world a little bit of brightness from us. And that's all we try to do at TCI. I want to help you get enlightened, and enlightening simply just means knowing the truth. Because once you know the truth, man, this world isn't scary. And you know something? I have such a peace. I don't have to worry. I don't have to think, God, I hope that guy got saved before he died. I don't have to worry about that. Because the Christ said, I came that all would be saved. And I know a few of my brothers are going to call and send messages going, well, that means they would be, doesn't mean they are. Let's go back to the original Greek, Hebrew. Let's restudy this book. And let's remember, this book, which is a beautiful thing, and I'm walking on rocks if you're wondering why I'm always tripping here. This book is beautiful, but it was penned by man. And I'm a man. He's a man. She's a woman. He's a man. We're all men and women. We're human. And you know what? We make mistakes, don't we? Have you ever made a mistake? Because I made one. A big one. Matter of fact, you were there when I made that one. And I got in the car and said, you know what? I made a mistake. I'm human. God, I am so sorry. We all make mistakes. You don't think the guy writing this did? And the gal? And the 66 books? And the probably 100 different authors? Absolutely. So let's look at what it is. It is a book inspired by the deity, but written by us, man. So maybe we don't listen as well to God. Maybe we should start listening a little more. Because if you listen to what I just said and you reach into your stomach, you're going to know it's true. I have a very dear friend of mine. He lives in the mountains, up by where I was born in California. I think the last time I talked to him, he's only spoken to about 10 to 15 people in his whole life. 10 to 15 people in his entire life. He's a hermit. He loves the mountains. He loves being isolated. But I met him as a young boy. So my father and me stayed friends. Every 5-10 years when we were out in that area, we'd go see him. And he liked our company briefly. Okay? Now here's the interesting thing. He has nothing to do with religion. There is zero religion talked with this man. He has never been to a church service. He did by my father, when he first met him, he told him, if you're going to talk about any kind of a faith, go somewhere else, because I am good with God. So my father left him alone thinking that he was already a saved Christian. But what he said was, I was good with God. And this man has never been in a church, never read any words from the book, from the Quran, from the Vedas, none of them. He is a good man. He knows that killing things is not proper. A human, you don't take their life. That's wrong. How does he know right from wrong if he's not a Christian? My God. If he's not a Muslim, if he's not a Buddhist, if he's not in some faith, how are you going to know what's right or wrong? The world will implode, explode. Yeah, I was there for 1999 too, folks. You know, Y2K, when the whole world was going to stop. I remember that. My good friend sold, I think it was almost $50 million in assets, bought a place in Costa Rica down by my dad's, sold everything, turned it all into gold and silver bars, put it in a vault at the place down there, and about 6 months before Y2K came, moved everything down there. I didn't see him for many years. Then I ran into him and I'm like, hey, how'd that Y2K thing happen? He just kind of chuckled and said, don't laugh, I was a fool. I believed all these men. Huh. Even a man as wise as him can make mistakes. Funny thing was, his mistake was putting it all into gold and silver. They laughed. I think he made over $20 million when he turned the gold and silver back into actual cash. So Maybe he wasn't so stupid. But the point is, he ran off and hid in the woods because we all said it was all going to end, right? All these people talking about it. World's not going to end. Not now. Not for us. There is no person going to crack the sky open and peek their head through. But there's the book of Revelation. John said so. John did say a lot of things in the book of Revelation. And I love the book of Revelation. Some of it. The other parts, go look at the island John was on. He was stuck in prison. That's what they did. They put him on an island and said, you're stuck on this island. Nice talking to you. We'll come and get you when your sentence is up. And that island, Patmos, there's no major source of water. There's little pockets where the rain would drop its water. So he's drinking from pooled water that's sitting there. He's eating some mushrooms and some shrubs, trying to catch some fish from the ocean and eat that. Might have had one too many shrooms when he wrote that book. I heard that once from a preacher who I very much value and trust. But here's my point. Stop worrying about the boogeyman. Stop worrying about eternal damnation. Because if you want to know if there's a hell, is there a hell?
Yes.
Where's that hell?
Here.
Uh-oh. Did you hear that? There is a hell. I was wrong. You're living in it. Open your eyes. Look around you. Do you feel pain and suffering? Is it horrible at times? Absolutely. And me alone can make my life a living hell. Because hell is here. Separated from God. Where I've been. And I did not want to come back. I did not. I was so happy that last time I was there. I saw my mom and I said, oh, I'm home. I'm good. There's my birth dad. There's my guys from my youth. A very dear friend who took a shotgun to his whole torso, protecting me, is dead. He was there. Beautiful. Smile. I was home. But then they said, sorry, not yet. You got to go back. You got a mission. Man, I didn't want to hear that. So I got back. And everyone thinks I'm all about making money. Well, you don't know me then. Because I don't care about money. I will give all my money away. I made all that money last year. What did I do with it?
Give it away.
Gave it all away. I don't make money. I don't want money. I want you to be freed from bondage so that you can live a life that's peaceful and you can live the best version of you that you want. That's all we want at TCI. All right, guys, I've reached the end of our message today, coming to you again from the beautiful sound and the water lapping up on the shores and the beautiful people that came today to watch us, including the people who jumped in on the screen to get in on the shots and stuff. That's all good because we have fun at TCI. We take hikes. We do all kinds of adventures. Hey, if you're single and you want to get together and try to meet other people, you know what? I always tell people, go to a church because there where people are trying to better themselves. You'll find a nice gal or a nice guy or whoever it is you're looking for. You'll find them there. Come on out and join us. Get a hold of us. Send us a message. Reach out to me. Facebook groups, all kinds of ways. Phone numbers, emails. I love you guys. God loves you. You know the drill. Live positive.